Hey everyone, and welcome to a little bit different kind of a video. We're going to cover today modern history of HFI, that's hitfactor.info, Howler monkey movement a little bit, and Classifier committee. But first, how did it all actually start? Well, I've been noticing that things haven't been making sense for a while now. Actually, the first time I scraped USPSA classification scores was in January 2022. It's when I noticed that there were no hundos on file in limited on El Presidente 9911. You can actually still see this on HFI. Kenny Terry, our best local shooter at the moment and 10th in the country in limited, he had his record stay since 2016 until 2022. And it was only good for 99% when actually now it's more like 116%, 116. So I noticed this stuff in 2022, and later this year, Kurt McKenna, Competition Shooting Insights, he started publishing his stuff on his Instagram. This is actually where the CDF and Weeble distribution came from. It's that S curve. So Kurt's idea was that top 1% or 99th percentile or top first percentile is going to be your grandmaster score on just any given classifier, which we later recalibrated to actually 97th percentile or top 3% of the scores to be around 90% of the high hit factor. Just nerd stuff. Basically, it's a way to convert percentiles into percent of high hit factor. And the way we calibrated this stuff was we wanted to keep the overall difficulty of classification system about the same. And we used the most popular division at the moment and still carry optics. And we just wanted to keep the number of grandmasters in using their current percentage about the same. Yeah. So these ideas, they were there for a while, and at least two people since 2022 were thinking about this and seeing that HHFs were busted, but it wasn't really very obvious, or it wasn't really hurting to enact any noticeable change until the Howler monkey protest movement started. And this is a little video I made on my Instagram. So fast forward to winter 2023-2024, aka Howler monkey protest. I got seriously worried at the moment that USPSA might cease to exist. It's still possible, by the way, with all the ongoing lawsuits, but I hope it will not come to that. So anyway, I decided to make a backup of the classification system in case uspsa.org will go down. At the moment, I was actually traveling United States in my Tacoma in trailer. So the first stolen data was actually scraped using Starlink, believe it or not. Anyway, this is how HFI was born, and why it was easy for a lot of people to now notice the issues with classifier HHFs. Lucky for us all, HQ used an especially bad method of setting HHFs for 23 and 24 series. And thanks to all you guys who started Howler monkeying about it, the board of directors actually paid attention. So, HHS for 23 and 24 series. It was so far away from reality that it led to the creation of the classification committee or classifier committee. And for that, you should all really thank Alex Acosta, the area 4 director, because I think at the moment he was the only HQ guy who was talking to Howler monkeys. So we talked to a few Howler monkeys here and there. We asked people to recommend potential candidates for classifier committee, and obviously it didn't happen without some drama. The A2 director at the moment, Leighton, had some bad blood with Kurt and didn't want to approve him, and my current section coordinator, I think he's still section coordinator, Robert Wyatt, called Alex Acosta to narc on me how I'm a troublemaker and I shouldn't be trusted. Yeah, little did he know, I made it all up, the whole classification system. So yeah, hi guys, my name's Steph, aka not John Kim, and I made it all up. By the way, nobody even double checked my work on 25 series HHFs, unlike 23 and 24 series, which were legit double checked and use like official USPSA data and whatnot. So if any of you haters are out there, want to prove what scumbag I am, all you have to do is dig into 25 series and find what's wrong with them. Enjoy the hunt. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right. So 23, 24 series. HFI showed how bad these were. The committee started, and the first thing we did was to fix 23 and 24 series. Unfortunately, the math method that we use kind of made all the HHFs much easier. So we had to change the classification system. We had to just delete the BCD flags essentially. That was not as easy. I mean, it was pretty easy. Like, it was a pretty quick hunch. I just verified the populations I did on HFI. But for the USPSA classification committee, I basically had to prove that this is the way to go. Anyway, long story short, I was able to prove it first to classification committee, then to board of directors, shit ton of words, Megadoc, you can go read it. Nerd shit, not interesting. We did a lot of calibration, a lot of discussion, blah, blah, blah. I'll spare you the details. Long story short, we calibrated it, killed BCD flags, and shipped new HHFs. Then board of directors decided to fuck with L10, which has no data and will never have any data. So I had to spend shit ton of time on another dumb shit, like combining LO and CO scores, recalculating them into majors, like, anyway, I'll spare you the details. We have L10 HHFs and we call them prophecy, but that one is really sketchy. I actually had to do the same kind of thing, even worse, for 25 series, because we made way too many classifiers for 25 series. The data collection period, we needed 150 for each in each division. I had to do splits analysis and make shit up and merge open into PCC and whatnot. Another nerd shit. I can cover it in later videos if you guys want to, and it will probably give like some food for the haters to start actually digging into my methods. I would actually appreciate that if someone can like come in and criticize all this bullshit. Anyway, so far, HFI and the math squad of classification committee brought you calibrated HHFs, no BCD, fixed 23-24 series, L10 prophecy, 25 series monkey tricks and JMath, and basically we fixed grandbagging. Awesome, right? So what's there left to do? Majors! Da-da-da-da. So the problem with majors, nobody scores their classification percent on majors, aka everybody's sandbagging. And guess what? We already have a solution on the HFI, already implemented. You should thank Terrence Sang for that, by the way. He helped me a lot with improving Weeble fitting speed using null-remead optimization algorithm. And he's the one who came up with the idea to just use a simple linear regression between current classification and major match finish in order to calculate major match classification equivalent percentage. Brought to you by Benadryl. Benadryl. The friends you can meet. Especially the Hetman. Hetman is the man. Yeah, so it's basically simple linear regression, just looks like this, and the guy who wins gets 100% of the score, but his classification at the moment was 95 in classifiers, similar on majors, but the bump actually puts him at 111. So if you want to look at the sailor, he is a 115% shooter. So that's your difference between, oh my god, I made GM at 95% and winning another nationals at 115. Again, nerd shit. However, now we're actually getting to something practical. This is the pinnacle of the classification system, the progress chart. So I'm going to use myself as an example, but you can go to anyone's profile essentially and see this chart. This is your progress through your whole history, including all divisions that you like ever shot. So this is a real no bullshit ability to track your skill level. I know at least 2 people that could have avoided burning out and quitting USPSA if they had this thing back in the day. So this is where we get finally to the topic of this video. Progress is hard. It's kind of embarrassing to show you this, even though there is something that I'm kind of proud of. This is me. I started in limited in C class in California. Well, started in production, but pretty much immediately switched to limited. I got into dry fire and Ben Steger books pretty quick, but I didn't have any fucking idea what I was doing. So I had to go through a lot of trial and error and fight against having absolutely no talent for this sport and using stupid equipment like night sights, irons on Glock 19, then PO9 and 40 that was literally chewing itself with enormous recoil. Never mind, I just suck. However, you see that little uptick in the end? This is only few months of dedicated practice. in a properly set up live fire, dry fire cycle, and then hitting a classifier match in Idaho, and then going to a low nationals with my carry optics gun and placing 28th there. I was still being too careful, and I pretty much shot nothing predictively, but this is the point where my most recent, like last 2 years, ventures into deep practice, neuroplasticity, and the theory of skill acquisition finally paid off. I believe that legit, if I keep this up for like a year or two, I can legit become a nationally competitive GM. Unfortunately, it's cold right now, and I don't even have access to a practical range for live fire, so womp womp. Progress is hard. You need not much, actually, just need an understanding, training location, faith in the process, and also some time and money for practice. Once you have all that, it's actually not that hard if you're properly motivated and emotionally encoding your practice sessions. But I'll cover this whole thing later. It's actually kind of cool that I had to spend time on HFI and classification committee, because now I understand not only from the shooter perspective how to progress practical shooting as a skill, but I also understand it from the performance measurement standpoint and things like difficulty of classifiers, and is a difficult classifier better at measuring your level than a harder classifier, things like that. It's really a lot of cool stuff, at least for me, being nerd and whatnot. I will cover it definitely in later videos. And by the way, this is already probably a pretty long video, so we're gonna go and do part 2. In the next video, in the part 2, we're gonna do the health check of the HQ implementation of the Megadoc, and also go over your questions and suggested topics. So if you have any ideas or questions, it's not too late to leave them in the comments down below. I hope this was useful for at least some of you, and if you're one of the haters, I hope you're not too mad. So stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.